Now, what you should have ended up with is something which looks a little bit like this. Now, I need to put the logo on there and I need to put the address in there, but I put me two boxes around there so you can see. You can see here, really, I need to make this subform a little bit larger now. And also, what I've done now is I've put a subtotal for the whole of my order. Now, I'm going to show you how to do that. If I just go to the design view for this form, I can do things like, let's delete that from there and make this a little bit bigger so that hopefully you can see. If I go to my form view, you can see most of the descriptions in this item here. I could do with really making those a bit smaller, but I won't bother. Now, the other thing is, you might have noticed on my other one I had a error in the quantity, and that was because I'd selected quantity from both the stock table and the quantity from the orders table. They're two slightly different things. The quantity from the stock table is the quantity I have left in stock. The quantity on the order line table is the quantity of items I needed to put in that particular order. So really I needed just the quantity from the order line table because it's to do with the particular orders. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my form view, design view. What I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this little subform here. So full orders subform 2. Let's just close that down. So full orders subform 2, and if I go to the design view for this particular form here, now there's a couple of things that I've added. First of all, I've added my totals column here. So all I've done to do that one there, and I'll just show you this very quickly, is I've put a text box in here. What I've then done is, so I can put this as being my totals. Oops, let's put that totals over there. Okay, now I've got my properties window over at the side here. I just need to drag it out so you can see it. Here, this box here, it currently says for its data that its control source is unbounded. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a calculation. What I want to do is I want to work out the total cost. So to do that, I'm going to times the price by the quantity. So to do that, I do an equals and then do square brackets. Square brackets indicates that I'm talking about one of the fields which is already in there. So I've got a field called quantity. So I'll put quantity in there. And then I'm going to times it by the field called price. If I change the view now to be my form view, what you'll see is I'm now getting a totals one here where it's times in the quantity, in this case here 10, by 0.12, which is the price. If I go to the next item in there, what you can see, it's now done 7 times 6, which is 1420. As you can see, that's not particularly well formatted. So if I go back to the design view, one of the things here is that the text format I can change to be, well, it is plain text. In fact, it's the format that you need to go on here, and one of these formats here will be currency. So now when I change the view and I go back to my form view, what you can see is it's done as currency. What I'll do is I'll just delete the one above that because I no longer need it. Now, as you can see, also what I've got in here, if I go back to my design view, my form view, is at the bottom here. What I've got here is I've got a totals page. Now, this is adding up the subtotal for each of the items which is in that particular order that I've got. So if I had 4 items in that order, each of the 4 items would be added up. Now the way I've done that is, go back to design view here. What I've done here is I've put a text box in the footer of the form. Now if I put it in the footer, it doesn't matter what's showing on the form itself. It will display that information there. Now what I've done there is I've given that a name. So if I go to all here at the top here, and I've called that subtotal. Now that's important, I've called it subtotal because I'm going to use it in my next video here. What I've then done is I've put here into the control source, I've done a sum. And what I've done here is I've used my little function here, sum, so I need to put equals sum, open round brackets, and then I'm going to put exactly the same thing that I put in the totals column. What that will do then is when I go back to the design view, back to the form view, you will see my total in there. I've made it currency in exactly the same way that I did before. So in here, in the format, I've selected currency.